Hey guys, it's Ross Scotland on the Space Couch. Today we have another in my series of airline and airport books. This one, Kai Tak, The Final Decade by Robbie Shaw. There is the back. The old Kai Tak airport in Hong Kong closed down, I think it was just before the handover to China in 1997. So, there you go. Classic plane, classic livery, TriStar of Cathay. Classic landing attempt, Alitalia MD-11, because obviously Kai Tak had that notorious runway approach. There is a plan. Now, it's been decommissioned, but I believe this has still not been built over. There was something on CNN a little while back showing what's left of the airport. So, some more Cathay TriStars. They were very popular with Cathay Pacific. They ran them on their Southeast Asian routes. There is another of Cathay, this time they're 747-200s. This was the plane they inaugurated non-stop service to London on. Their later livery, I mean, there is the old one on the 747. This livery has only just been updated, and it's only a minor change. Like, they got rid of the nose flash, and I think they changed the colour on the tail a little. There you see it better there. Like, this is no longer there. And the little red stripe you see there is also gone. And I think this might be a slightly different shade of green. But there's Dragonair, which is their subsidiary. The updated Dragonair livery, A320, and of course A330. I think they still operate both those types. A TriStar in the new livery for Dragonair. This would have been rotated out from Cathay. And there is an interesting one. That's a 707. What airline is that? Transcorp. It says it seems to spend most of its time on the ground rather than in the air. So there's a China Airlines 767. They didn't operate very many of these. They phased them out for the A300. There's an Air Hong Kong 747 freighter, and there is just one of the helicopters that help patrol the skies. Some China Airlines planes now, two 747-200s. They had a terrible record with losing 747s, crashes. There was that one that went off the end of the runway in Hong Kong. There's an MD-11. They had a couple of issues with that, so I think they lost at least one of those also. But they'd leased it out to their subsidiary Mandarin Airlines, and I think it crashed on landing. And I think this one is one of these two, I believe, of China Airlines, did actually crash. Let me see. Yes, this is the one that went into the harbour, and it was only a couple of months old at the time. So here it's brand new, so that would have been just before it happened. There is Mandarin Airlines operating a 747 SP, which obviously China Airlines also operated. Here's a couple of CAC TriStars, you know, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, before it became Air China and all of the other airlines. They're the last people to order the TriStar, and they ordered a lot of them. And it's kind of, that's why they never ordered the 727. They've ordered all the other Boeing planes, not the 727, because the the Trident, fulfilled their needs. And there is an SP, and there's a 707. When they were updating their fleet, once there was the rapprochement with the Nixon administration, they started ordering Boeing planes. Now, of course, it's quite political as to if they order Boeing or Airbus. So 747, 200, 400, 737. Some China Eastern Airlines now, Fokker 100, MD-90, and an Airbus A300. MD-11 of China Eastern, MD-90, and an A310. Is this China Northern? China Northwest, based in Xi'an. And then, of course, China Southern, one of the biggest airlines in China. I really liked this livery. It's really, really soothing. I'm not sure if they still got it. I think they updated it, but we've got a 737 and a 757. A couple more of the Chinese airlines here. I think this is Xiamen Air. That's Philippines. What's this one? China Southwest. The old and new Philippine Airlines. This is one from the 70s. This is the one that got updated in the 80s. Probably due for another update, to be honest. A300, 747. Oh, actually, there is a Korean Airlines 707 in the old livery. This one is a freighter. There is a 146, another freighter, and there is an Asiana 747. Some Korean airplanes, an SP-400 and an MD-11. Vietnam Airlines still going, Cambodia Airlines, they're not still going. Always loved this livery on Thai Airways, MD-11, A300, 747, 200. Although the current livery is quite nice as well. All Nippon TriStar. That might well have been the plane that I flew to Florida on, the Rich International TriStar that I've mentioned previously, because it had been all round the houses. And there's one of their cargo 747s. JAL 767, ANA 747. More JAL here. Super Resort Express, the one they usually used on the honeymoon flights to Hawaii. There's an MD-11 in the later livery, and there is a 747 in the classic livery. And their subsidiaries, Japan Asia Airlines, very similar to the original livery, of course. It's the one they used to operate to Taiwan, as well as like holidays in the Pacific. So Garuda DC-10 in their later livery, and Malaysian in one of their recent liveries, which has been phased out. There's a 70s livery on a DC-10. There is the later one on a 747. Singapore Airlines 300, the big top, and there is a 737 freighter. I think that was the only one of that they operated, because definitely it was all wide-bodied, apart from the 757s they operated in the early 80s, but they got replaced with A310s. So Royal Brunei, Royal Nepal as it was, now just Nepal Airlines, and Singapore Airlines. Myanmar Airways, Air Lanka and their old delivery in A340. Biman Bangladesh 707. I saw one of the A310s at Bangkok Airport the second time I was going to Australia. There you go, an Air India A310 in their old classic livery. No. Continental Micronesia out of Guam. I'm not sure which airline this is. It was Air India 747. So there are some American carriers fly there. So Delta and FedEx, both MD-11s. Various freighters now. Flying Tiger, I think that's Connie Kalita, and that's the old FedEx livery, which I always saw as purple. I know some people see it as blue. A couple of Northwest 747 freighters. This one is brand new here. You can see how shiny it still is. It's only a few months old. Northwest Orient, of course, they were very famous for flying to Asia. There's a United SP. That plane would have originally been with Pan Am flying that route till they bought the Pacific Division in the 80s. 86, I think. There's a Polar Air cargo plane. The later United livery, the Battleship Grey, which I did really, really like. Although the original one with the tulip is beautiful as well, and the cheat lines. The current one, which is a Continental livery, is kind of bland. It needs to be updated. Canadian 747-400 and one of their DC-10s, and there's a UPS in their old livery of the 747 freighter. Now, Varig of Brazil, Air New Zealand, Qantas. Big destination for Air New Zealand and Qantas is Hong Kong. They both used to fly to their respective home countries from the UK via Hong Kong, although neither does now. And to Australia, they're long gone, of course. There's a Qantas 767. They've only just been phased out, actually. Air Nauru, a local smaller carrier in the Pacific. And there's the old British Airways livery, the Landor livery, which is very classic and elegant. British Asia Airways. There's a slight difference on the tail. You can just about see it's like Chinese markings. The old Virgin livery on a A340, and the classic British Caledonian DC-10. This is not Air France. The tail is different because it was Air France AZ, so they removed the red and it's just blue. And that'll be KLM. I'm not sure if that's KLM Asia or not. That's just normal KLM, I guess. Martinair 747, that's probably a freighter. Then 2 Lufthansa 747s, the classic livery and the livery that's just been phased out. Now, Alitalia. This is the dodgy landings. It's not just Alitalia, it was so many of them because it's such a difficult approach. And there's an MD-11 and there's a 747. The old classic Scandinavian Airlines livery, their 767s form their long-haul fleet, and there is a Swissair MD-11. That interim Aeroflot design, this is one worn by their A310 that crashed all those years ago. And there is Emirates A300. You see their livery has not changed that much since then. And there's the old South African Airways livery, the Springbok livery, which has obviously been phased out a long time. Classic Gulf aircraft, the TriStar in their 70s livery, and there is the 767 in their 90s livery. That's about it. The rest is just, like, say, the smaller planes that do the various flying duties in the airspace. Not anymore. And there's just one of the ramp with all the planes lined up. So there you go, guys. That's just a look at Kai Tak, the final decade. So obviously some of those were earlier than the 10 years preceding, I think, 1997. So 70s, 80s and 90s in there. Great to see all those Asian airlines, all those liveries that are now gone, all those airlines that are either gone or merged or whatever. But there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment or a suggestion for a upcoming topic you'd like to see discussed, or like the video.